Alright guys, so we finally got into the last part of my 100th video slash Heavy Rain review. So I thought I might as well go ahead and just talk about some of the, loose ends of the game. And basically just talk about, a few other things I might have forgot to mention before, my other 4 parts of my 100 video. So let's get right to that. First of all, before I get into some of the minor little problems, and those will be not really big problems because I really couldn't find a bunch of huge problems in this game besides ones I might have mentioned before. If not, I'll mention them again there. But the most of the problems I will talk about in this video are really just a bunch of nitpicks and really not actual big problems that I can completely overlook. But, I just want to, tie this whole thing up and just get a few things across. But first, before I do that, I'll talk about some of the music in this, mostly because the composer for this video, for the video game, Norman Corbell. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name, and I'm very sorry because he recently passed away. I believe back in February. I'm not exactly sure. Actually, I can look up along. Give me a minute. Just bear with me. Yeah, he actually very recently passed away back in late January, so I thought I might as well talk about the music in his respect. But the music in this, and I'm not just saying it because the composer recently passed away, and I really mean this. This comes from like the bottom of my heart. The music in Heavy Rain is beautiful. It literally is amazing and just absolutely beautiful. From the beginning to the end, the music just adds so much to the game, and really, that's another reason why I really want to review this game, is just the music itself. Like, people say that, like, Hans Zimmer or some other composers, like Hans Zimmer, some people say that Hans Zimmer was, like, inspired by the Dark Knight the Dark Knight movies, Batman movies, to, create such a great great soundtrack and a great score. Well, the same kind of happened to me when I listened to Norman Corbell's soundtrack and his score for Heavy Rain. It kind of just inspired me to go ahead and review this because the music in Heavy Rain is beautiful and amazing and sad and dramatic. It's just great, and definitely listen to it. In fact, you can probably find a couple tracks of the Heavy Rain soundtrack in my good music playlist. It's amazing. My favorite will probably have to be the opening prologue music, because it's beautiful and it's sad and depressing, and it just fits the game overall, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And listen to it if you definitely haven't. It goes with like anything like sad and dramatic. I tell you, like, someone clash that music with like a sad scene from like any movie, and it will probably fit 100%. I bet you. But that's all I have to say about that. And Norman Corbell, rest in peace, man. You made some great music, and won't be hearing anything from you, and that's anything new from you, and that's very sad. Especially because he was working on the next game, not a sequel to Heavy Rain, but a new game by the same production company, Quantic Dreams, which was Beyond Two Souls. He was in the middle of composing that, and he, I guess, never finished it, which is really sad. So I wonder how that music will turn out, but, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But enough about that. Let's get into some of the problems. I already discussed the music and how it was great. Let's talk about some of the problems. I already mentioned my whole rant on who the Origami Killer was, because that was just honestly a huge problem. Again, they could have just made it Carter Blake. That would have been 2 on the nose, but you know what? It would have made tons more sense. It just would have made more sense overall. It didn't really make much sense. You had him in the room as the killer committed something, and we saw him just standing there doing absolutely nothing. A huge plot hole. I really hate that shit. But enough about that. I don't want to waste a bunch of time talking about something they already did. But one problem I had is towards the end of the game. This is actually 2 problems here. First problem, it's actually a huge. You know what? I think it is basically just ripping off Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. the Origami Killer, or Scott Shelby, basically, Madison Paige is snooping around Scott Shelby's place because she found out that he's the Origami Killer. Looking for some evidence, she finds some. Shelby shows up, and she locks him, he locks her in the house while it's burning, and she finds out a way to get out of there, but he also lit up, he has like a little propane tank, it's courtesy of Hank Hill, and the place is about to blow, so she hides in, again, I mentioned Indiana Jones, she hides in, of all places, a refrigerator. God damn. Now, this isn't a big problem because there's many other decisions that you can make, like you can jump out of a window or just go straight out the door. But that is so shitty. Like, why did you make that even a decision? You couldn't just like cut that out. That was just dumb. Dumb. I even thought it was dumb in, Indiana Jones. But that was just a stupid decision. It was dumb. And she shows up, like, completely fine. Like, the police blew up and shit, and then she's immediately just, like, walking out of the building with just, like, with nothing wrong with her. She's like, I'm good. Stupid. Plain and simple stupid. Next problem I have actually is in the same scene as that. They finally find out, the trail and where Sean Mars is, and a big problem, the problem is that, she has a decision whether to call Ethan, which the first decision is either call Ethan to tell him where Sean is so they can meet up and save Sean, go alone, or third decision is that to call Jaden, or Norman Jaden, the FBI profiler I mentioned a couple times before. But the problem is they never met before, and that's a huge problem, and that's actually another problem with the rest of the game. She never met him before. Like, they walked past each other in a club, like, earlier in the game, a few scenes before that, but they didn't say hi, they didn't meet or anything like that. She just is like, oh, I gotta call that FBI guy Norman. It's like, you never met before. How do you know him? Like, it's stupid. And again, that's a huge problem with, like, a lot of other things, because certain characters, they meet up with each other for the first time as if it's like the second or like third time that they've met. Like Scott Shelby meets Ethan in the where Sean is, and then they're just talking like they met each other like once before. And I know that if you met the killer or someone met the killer, you wouldn't be like, oh, what's your real name? But it's just kind of weird. Like, it's like, he's just telling him about his whole thing. It's like, well, who the hell are you? It's just weird. I don't know. Like, it's a personal problem I had with the game. It's like, anytime someone showed up or met each other, it was just like, oh, well, just, whatever. I don't know. It's just weird. Like, Ethan, like Jaden, he's Scott Shelby's about to kill Ethan where Sean is, and then Jaden just comes right the fuck out of nowhere and just tackles him. And I was suspecting Ethan to go ahead and say, well, who the hell are you? Like, what the hell just happened, I wish that happened, because it would make more sense. And I know that if you do something else during the game, you actually do get to meet Jaden, like if you get caught by the police or something stupid like that. Well, it didn't happen. It should be a little bit different. Like, I don't know. It's just a personal problem that I have with it. But most of the problems I have in this game are really just minor nitpicks. But most of them happen at the end, which is just a big problem. Like, why at the end? It's just so weird. There's a couple other problems I think that was in it. So let me think. Honestly, I can't really come up with any other problems. It really is just a couple minor nitpicks besides who the Origami Killer turns out to be and so on and so forth. Minor nitpicks, and I can just, overlook them completely. The pros in this game really do outweigh the cons. Well, I just thought of a couple of things. Like, every single time that I played this game, it glitched up, like, at least once. And I played this game 3 times, so I got a glitch, like, at least once in, the 3 times I played it. First time that happened, it didn't let me make, like, a certain decision. I don't remember what it was, but it wouldn't let me make a decision, and it already said, oh, I already did that. Like, it's like, oh, I already did that, and nothing happened. It was just like I stood there, I tried playing with all the buttons, and then he finally just said, oh, I already did that, and it was really weird. But that's just a minor glitch, no big deal. The second one, what happened was, the game, it froze completely right when it was loading. That's another thing. I'm just remembering everything now. It froze when it was loading, and then the third time I did it, it froze right where it was revealed who the origami killer was. Now, if that was the first time that I was playing the game, I would have been pissed off. Cause I was just like, because I had to start all over again. It fucking pissed me off. I hate when games do that. But another minor little gripe that I had is that every single time when you're switching from one character to another, and it's like a loading screen, it shows you the face of the character that you're playing. It's so goddamn long. It takes forever for it to load and for it to, let you be the character, and it's annoying. And then the thing that kind of bugged me is that at the bottom it had like a little thing where press this button, and usually when a game is loading, it sort of gives you like a little tip where it's like, oh, do this when it says to do that. When do this when you have to do that. And I wasn't sure if the little thing press these 3 buttons together. I'm not sure if it meant to do that, to make the loading go faster, or if it meant, that you're gonna eventually have to do that, later in the game. It was confusing to me. And sometimes when I actually did press the buttons together finally, after 5 minutes of waiting for it to load, it worked. It didn't work, I don't know, but it was I waited for 5 minutes, and then once I actually just finally did that out of desperation and actually moved on and went to the next cutscene, it was really weird. I was confused about whether or not I had to do that, or it was just a little heads up on what I had to do next. It was weird. It's a minor problem, but it was also weird. They need to cut that loading shit down a little bit, please. But, those are just some minor, and I really mean minor gripes, just some small, little nitpicky, little bitchy parts. I can completely overlook them, and I'm going to have to give Heavy Rain, I think a 9.5 out of 10 definitely does. No, a 9. Just because that whole, the origami killer thing, I really like that at all, but that really about settles it for Heavy Rain. I liked it. Overall, I really did like it. Probably one of my favorite video games of all time. And in a way, it is very much kind of like a playable movie. Just with a few buttons smashed in between, but mostly a movie. Most of the time throughout this game, you'll just be watching a movie because you rarely ever really press any buttons or do anything, which is another minor little gripe. You're really just sitting there watching the thing go on without really having to press buttons, just having to press buttons from time to time. It's very, very much a movie with just some buttons thrown in it for a couple quick seconds. But it is still a very good game. And I can even consider it a movie, because it very much is done very much in a style of a movie. So, if you're looking to be entertained by a video game or a movie, and you have some money to spare, the game is only a third of what it was worth when it first came out. $20, come on. So, yeah, I'd say definitely pick it up if you're, bored and you really want to be entertained by something. So, yeah, definitely check it out. I highly recommend it for any of you video game fans out there. And thank you for watching my 100th video, even though this is probably the 104th video by now, I guess. But, thank you for sticking around for 100 videos. Thank you for 50 subscribers to all my subscribers that have put up with my videos over the last 100 things. I will get on to making more videos now, seeing as how I really don't have much to worry about now. And I'll see you guys soon. See you.